Yeah, hello everyone. In this today's Snapshot webinar, I want to show another topic we are working on in context of our StableNet Innovation Lab. So this is a topic where we are teaming up with different customers and partners looking into new applications of network management, where what could be done in the future to simplify working processes and use new technologies and so on. And in this particular case today, we want to look into weather maps as a means for displaying a lot of information in a nice compact way to get a quick understanding of what's happening in a network environment. And to start this presentation, I want to spend in total maybe 10-15 minutes today, not longer than that. To start this presentation, I want to quickly show two weather maps that can simplify working with networks in different ways. And then I want to show how these weather maps can be automated, what we are working on right now in this context. So the first example we have here is a way of displaying a network service with several hops in the network. And the idea is that a customer came to us with such an approach, and we teamed up together, is that I want to look at the service hop by hop by basically having a weather map which is in a portrait format. So it's on a fixed width, but it can be on arbitrary lengths, the more length height. So the more hops I have on my service, the longer it will be, but the width is always fixed. And by scrolling from top to bottom, this always is taking a little while to reload the charts up to date in the web, in the StableNet portal here. When scrolling down, I can, for each hop on the way, I can get some information. For instance, here I get different ping charts, like the ping chart of the last 24 hours, the ping chart of the last 7 days, to get an understanding if there have been any outages recently in the last few days. And then I get the very recent ping chart of just the last hour. I could also think of having other charts than just ping here. And so I get an understanding of the device. And for each device, I also get, in addition here, if I zoom in a little bit, I also get certain interfaces of the devices that are here put out specifically so that I can get further information on these interfaces. For instance, you could think if this is a service running somewhere in an ISP network. Unfortunately, I cannot show a real one from a customer because obviously those are much more interesting, but I'm not allowed to show those. But if you think, for instance, of a service running in an like a ring, for instance, that is there in an ISP network, you could think that at every hop you have crossover points to other partners, for instance, and you want to get some understanding of these links. So this can be added. And then when scrolling down on the next level, I actually get here some information for the interfaces. So I can see these interfaces and I can see the charts here that are indicating how the traffic is. Again, I have two charts, like the last 24 hours and the last 7 days. And this can help me to spot certain issues. And then getting to the next hop, basically I have the same thing. I have selected interfaces. I have my ping charts. In this case, on this device, as this is a demo environment, we have more than just a normal ping RTT, but we have some other RTTs we are measuring with different methods. That's why we have more than one chart. And you can see this is adapting automatically. And then here, again, I have the next interface where the data is loading on demand once scrolling there, and there is another hop. And obviously, if something like this should be created manually, this would be a lot of work to do this. And if you have a lot of services in your network you look at, you need an automation for this. The second example, real quick, while still being here in a normal StableNet 24 in our demo lab. The second example is I have a network topology and I want to have a hierarchical understanding of this topology. And I'm assuming that I have some core nodes of my network in the middle of the network. And then I have some border nodes, which are handover points to other ISP partners, for instance, or to peering partners. And in this case, I want to have the core nodes in the middle in a circle. Then I want to have the border nodes around it. And then I want to maybe have some specific interfaces to certain peers, again, in a circle around this so that I can get a quick understanding of the infrastructure, of the topology of my network. But in the same time, also get additional information. And now let's look in the next few minutes on a wizard that we actually are have created as a proof of concept, and we are still working on how things like this can be optimized. And to this end, I'm here in our data science portal that we are working with, and I'm opening the proof of concept of the weather map wizard, and I'm first going to the service ring layout. And so what I want to do here is, let's say I pick a service, and if I choose one of the test services we have prepared for today's webinar, I'm getting some more space here, you can actually see that I directly have a new weather map that is being created. You can see this here on the top, that this weather map has been created with an ID 41108 and will be there on the server. And you can see the 3 hops, for now just the devices and the links. And now I go step by step. The first thing I want to do is I want to see the interfaces of these devices. For this, I can work with tag filters. We have integrated this adequately. So if I start with an accept all, I will see that I get by far too much, like these devices have a lot of interfaces. But now maybe for the sake of the demo, because you can see that some of the interfaces have interface information because there are measurements, not for all of the interfaces, I will actually work with an exists tag filter. So I will say, please filter on all these interfaces that actually have a measurement. So to that end, I'm saying I want an exists filter on the tag category measurement name. And if I do this and wait for a short moment to update, then I actually get an updated version of my weather map, where on every hop I get exactly those interfaces that are currently measured by StableNet. So if you map this to your corresponding network, maybe this helps you to get some ideas what you could do. Obviously, I can further filter this down, but here I see now all the interfaces that are measured, and I see a text of the output. And down here, I see that actually this is a smaller device where we are currently just measuring one interface. Now I continue with adding charts. So the first thing I want to do is, let's say I want to add a standard ping chart to each of these devices. Sorry for this taking a little bit. I'm not at the office location today, so maybe this is my my connection, but I think now here we are. And let's say I want to go from left to right. I first want to have the most recent data. So let's say the last 3,600 seconds, full seconds. This is the ping chart I want on the very left. And here I go, I just added it. And now you can see that it is actually added to each single hop. And here again, we have this ROGAT device, which has actually 3 different ping measurement types, which are added here. And then we have the other device. And now maybe as the next one, I want my standard ping chart without any changes, like the 1,440 minutes of the last day. And this is also being added everywhere. And maybe as the last one, I'm just adding now some other information here, like a, let's say, histogram chart. Don't know if that will offer a lot of insight for these 3 nodes in the test environment, but let's do it just to have it. So here I get a histogram plot. And again, I think the concept is clear where we are heading. So you can choose what you want to have, and you get different. You get the same chart for different hops, and you can also see that there is some different behavior here. It's more widespread here than on the top, and this is all working underneath with the plot servlet URL. So for those of you who are really into the details, you can also look up in the backend what's being done. Now let's go to the links. For the links, I want to have 2 charts. The one chart I want to have like the last 3,600 seconds, the last hour. Okay, this is boring because we are measuring only every 25 minutes. So let's say I actually want to have the last full day for 1,440 minutes, and I want to have the plus minus bandwidth chart. I like this a lot because it goes up and down from the 0 line. This is my preferred one, so I want this one here, and I'm adding it. And there we go. I have it for each interface. It's not the The next one is coming here. There's a little bit more traffic to be seen on this interface. And now maybe as a second one, I want to have all values chart. So I want to have actually all the values that are measured for this interface. And again, here we go. And again, this is being updated, and we are already. So I think the concept is clear. That way, I can easily create my my charts one by one, and I have them on each hop. And now the interesting thing where the fun starts is that if I'm now, this is a service that I chose at the beginning. If I'm now switching to another service, I'm actually getting the exact same sort of information, but for another service. In this case, this is a service with just two hops, one hop, two endpoints connected to each other, and the same sort of display. And you can now imagine, if I take the typical customers I'm having in mind, we are discussing with, they have at least a few hundred, if not more than that, rings, for instance, or services they would look at. So now this is suddenly making a lot of bringing a lot of benefits if you can quickly switch the services, but you can stay with the same sort of template layout. And you can then also save these templates, load templates, and so on. So for instance, there is here another template with just two device charts that I can load for that service where I have just two charts. Someone has prepared this, or I have another template with just all the interfaces. And you can see you can also work with this. Final comment on this part. This is, as was said from the beginning, this is a proof of concept. This is work in progress. We are in intense exchange with different users, customers, partners of ours already. And if you see anything which is particularly interesting for you, please reach out to us, and we will be happy to include further people into the discussion how to move this forward. Also maybe to include like category analyzer charts, group analyzer charts on the different hops and so on. Now, towards the last part of this today's snapshot webinar, I also want to show the second layout option, which is somewhat similar in parts from the usability, but then again, the display kind of layout is completely different. To that end, let's say I want to have my network has different functions. We have actually created for the catalyst we did last year. I think this was explained in a previous webinar I did on the StableNet Innovation Lab of 3D visualization. We created a German ISP topology synthetically. And there we have border nodes, we have core nodes, and so on. And now let's say I want to have the border nodes on the outer part and the core nodes in the middle. And in order to show you that this is working, I'm directly selecting some nodes here from the things we did for the TM Forum Catalyst. And I'm actually saying, okay, in my German ISP network that I synthetically created, I want to have a few border nodes like east, north, south, and west. East, north, south, and west. There we go. And I also want to have a few core nodes. And I also have to select the region here to make this work. So now I can see it without selecting the region. There was no display yet. And now I want to say north is on the top. So the north should be the first thing here, starting from the north. And then currently I have the south, but it makes more sense to have the east on the right side. Then I want to have the south on the lower side and west on the left side. But it's also not limited to this. As you can see, you can also do more or less. This is just like an example with 4 directions. If I add my center nodes, we have a fifth region here, like the center, then you can adequately see that now we have 5 of these regions. And if I'm again adding interfaces, like let's start with all interfaces, but this will be a little bit crowded. I tried this before when preparing. Then after a short loading time, We can also get our interfaces. Obviously, in this case, this does not make a lot of sense to have everything. But if I, for instance, know that I'm actually having, let's say, certain interfaces that start with peer and number 2, as an example, if this is an information you might have, then you would have just, after the filter updating, you would actually then just have end up having a subset of the interfaces is still loading in the back. At least I believe it is. Or I had another one was this one. Yeah, there we are. So for instance, here now I filtered on a subset. So getting slowly to an end, as you can see, we can play around a lot with this and can easily spend more than 10 or 15 minutes on this wizard. But the general idea is that I want to reach weather maps as the two ready ones that I showed at the beginning of this snapshot. And I want to have a way to easily get there with configuring just my layouts as templates and then changing the service or the devices I want to look at, but getting the same display. And to that end, we have created in our data science portal from the StableNet Innovation Lab, we have created a proof of concept for a weather map wizard. And we would be very happy if you contact us and indicate your interest to join on this, to team up, to exchange ideas, how to further work on this topic. And with that, I'm coming to an end for today. Thank you very much.